Hi guys, this is Miss Cairo here. Please open up your book to page 179 in your activity book and find the heading at the very top. It says add zeros to the dividend, and we started working on a problem that goes along with this concept in the last lesson. But let's review and let's take a look at what it has to say after or underneath the heading. It says adding zeros at the end of a number after the decimal point does not change the value of the number. This idea can help us solve some division problems. Okay, and then we'll take a look at that rule in just a bit as we solve one of these problems together. And the problem that we're going to do together right now is number 16, or problem 16. And what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to get a piece of binder paper out or a notebook. Either one works as long as it looks like this with lines. So gather that either binder paper or a notebook. And if you don't have those materials, just problem solve, get your whiteboard ready. But I would prefer you have the paper out. And here's a trick that I'm going to show you on how to keep our place values all lined up when we're completing division problems. What we're going to do is we're going to churn our paper so that the lines are now going vertically rather than horizontally. So adjust your binder paper so that when you're looking at your binder paper, the lines are vertical, just like that. All right. And we're going to set up our problem number 16. It's 310 divided by 8 with our binder paper. And here's how we're going to do it. Just watch me do it for right now, and then you're going to have a chance to insert it into your paper in just a moment. So the way that this can help us is that each line will be used to separate each digit and help us keep track of our place values as we solve. So this works basically anywhere. You could do it at the top, in the middle, at the very, I would say somewhere around the middle or even at the top. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do it kind of close to the red line, and I'm going to set it up like this. 8 is our divisor. So I'm going to put 8 inside one of those lines. And then I'm going to be setting up the long division symbol really carefully, separating 2 lines there and then setting it up like that. And then I'm going to be inserting in 310, and each digit is going to go in between each line. So take a look as I do it. The 3 is going to go in here. The 1 in the 10 spot is going to go in here. And the 0 in the 1 spot is going to go inside another set of lines. Do you see how I put the digits, each just one digit at a time, in between the lines? Yay. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to copy mine into your piece of binder paper or your notebook, just like that. And we are going to be adding zeros to this problem, just a heads up, and I'm going to be walking you through why we add zeros at sometimes as we solve with division problems. So I'm going to give it a real world situation with this dividend and this divisor of 8. I'm picturing 8 friends, so that's why I inserted a picture of like these shadow people. There's 8 friends, and let's say we learned about people setting up a lemonade stand and earning money the other day. Let's say they have a bake sale. Let's say they set up a bake sale and they earn in one day $310 altogether. And at the end of their bake sale day, they want to distribute the $310 amongst themselves. They want to split it up, and each person receives an equal amount from the total of 310. So you could just watch as I do this. We have 8 people here, and then $310 is what they earned in all. And we're going to split that $310 up amongst them. So let's solve on our piece of binder paper. So again, I always like to do monkeys sell crispy bananas somewhere on my whiteboard or sheet as I'm doing every long division problem to remind me of the steps. So if that's helpful for you too, go ahead and do it. And let's work through this problem together. So first step is we're looking at our dividend at 310. We're going to do some underlining, starting with the digit of 3. And we're asking ourselves, can 8 go into 3? It cannot. So we're going to continue our line. And now we have 31 underlined. Can 8 go into 31? Yes, it can. How many times can 8 go into 31 without going over? It can go in 3 times, and where the 3 goes is above the 1 in our quotient, and the 3 is going to be in the tens place. The 1 in 310, and I can put it over here, is in the 10 spot. It's really important that the 3 also goes above the 1, keeping our place values all lined up. That means that these people are going to be receiving $30-something then. And let's keep on working our way through. So we divided. Next step is multiply. What's 3 times 8? 24. We're going to put a 24 underneath our 31. See how I put the 2 underneath the 3 and the 4 underneath the 1? Does yours look like mine? You need to erase if not. Next step is subtract. We're going to subtract what's 31 minus 24. We're going to have to do some borrowing if needed. And we get 7. 7 goes underneath the 4 in that row. Again, I'm having it so that my digits don't go over the lines. They stay directly underneath each place value that we're working with. So 11 minus 4 is 7. Check, is 7 less than 8? It is. We're good. B means bring down. What digit are we bringing down here? The 7. So let's the 0. We're bringing down the 0 next to the 7, and now we have the number 70. And we're going to start all over again. What this 70 represents now, this was as if it's 3 $10 bills. This 70 represents $71 bills. Why we brought the 0 down is that for 7 $10 bills, we can't distribute that evenly among 8 friends, so we had to exchange it for 71s. And then we start all over again. How many times does 8 go into 70 without going over? It should be a high number because 8 times 5 is 40. That's going to be way too little. So let's keep going up then. What about 8? Did you get 8? It is 8. It goes in 8 times. The 8 goes above the 0 in the 1 spot in our quotient. Again, does yours look like mine? Good. So we just divided. Let's multiply. What's 8 times 8? 64. Where the 64 goes is underneath the 70. Again, digits all lined up just like that. Next step is to subtract. 70 minus 64. I'm going to add in my subtraction sign in my line. What's 70 minus 64? It is 6. And 6 is going to go below the 4. And what this 6 represents now, so now we have 38 in our quotient. So far we have that each person is going to get $38. 38, 38, 38, 38. You get $38. You get $38. You get $38. Great job for your hard work with your bake sale. So $38 for each of them. What does the 6 represent? This would normally be, if we were doing this problem last week, we would put an R6. But I can't, in a real world situation, I'm not going to give each person 38 remainder $6. We don't have remainders in our currency. This 6 represents 6 $1 bills. And what we cannot do is distribute 6 $1 bills to 6 people and then say, sorry, you 2 other people, we're short $2 and you only get $38 and everyone else gets $39. These 2 people would be thinking, why don't we get the dollar? We worked really hard. There is a way for us to keep on exchanging though. So 6 $1 bills can be exchanged for another currency. And we look at the next place value over for $310. Let's exchange these 6 $1 bills for 60 dimes. And here's how we're going to do it. In our dividend 310, we're going to add a decimal on the line after the 0. And now we have 310 with the decimal at the end. And we're going to add in a 0 into the 10th spot. A 0 into the 10th spot. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring down that 0 now. And now we have 60 here at the bottom. And again, what that represents is 60 dimes. Can we distribute 60 dimes among 8 people? We totally can. Let's do it. If we have 60 dimes, how many does each of the 8 friends get if we're evenly distribute them? In other words, how many times does 8 go into 60? It goes in 7 times. And before we even write our 7, the next important step, and we've been practicing this in the last few days, if our divisor is a whole number, which it is, and our dividend has a decimal, the decimal needs to also go into the quotient to hold the place value. So after our 8 and our answer, we're going to also put a decimal, and that makes sense because it was $38, now a decimal, now we're working with dimes here. So I already said it. Each friend is going to get 7 dimes each. So we're going to put a 7 in our quotient in the 10th spot after the decimal. Does yours look like mine? And then we're going to just keep on doing these same steps. We just divided. Next step is multiply. With 7 times 8, 56. So the 5 and the 6 is going to go directly underneath the 60, all lined up correctly. And when we subtract 60 minus 56, we get 4. Again, now we're left with a remainder. Would I write 38 and 7/10 remainder $4? No. What this 4 represents is 4 dimes. We can't evenly distribute 4 dimes among 8 friends. So we're going to have to exchange it for the next currency over. I'm going to extend my line in my division problem. And I'm going to add another 0 into our hundredths place now. And why I'm doing that is I want to exchange my 4 dimes for 40 pennies. Same thing, same value, just smaller groups now of like more currency to distribute among friends. Can we distribute 40 pennies among 8 friends? We can. How many times does 8 go into 40? 5 times. Where we're going to put the 5 is in the hundredth spot in our quotient. And then we're going to keep solving now. Divide, multiply. What's 5 times 8? 40. Next step is subtract. What's 40 minus 40? It is 0. Yay. And we have nothing else to bring down. That means we've evenly distributed this $310. And now we've come across an exact answer that went in correctly. Each friend is going to get $38.75. Yay, thanks so much for following along closely. Again, what's really important here, don't forget those decimals. The decimal needs to be in your quotient where it is in our dividend. If we forgot the decimal there, our answer would be $3,875. That would be way too much to distribute to each person. They only earn $310 to begin with, okay? What I'd like you to do in your book is I'd like you to write in your answer and line up your place value. So above the 1 and 310 in the 10 spot, write a 3. In the 1 spot, write an 8. Then a decimal and a 75 cents or 75 hundredths at the end. Great job. Thanks for following along.